For a website with 1.6 billion visits, disturbing people is not something rare. But this case is worse than anything I've seen before.
They arrested a 37-year-old man from Roy. He faces charges.
Reddit users immediately started speculating as to what the odd scene depicts. So, is the map showing a murder?
Some criminal cases seemed unsolvable. There were no clues, witnesses, or suspects. Then people on Reddit started digging, and sometimes the truth was darker than anyone thought. These are the most disturbing mysteries solved by Reddit users. We'll begin with the less disturbing ones and work our way to the worst. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure you guys subscribe because it allows us to keep pushing forward, and I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I'm Visual Venture, and you are awesome. The mystery of the evil farm. For years, gamers on Reddit searched for a missing game. Many people remembered playing it, but no one remembered its name. It became one of Reddit's biggest unsolved gaming mysteries, and one day the truth finally came out, and the answer shocked everyone. The mystery began on a subreddit called Tip of My Joystick. It's a place where people describe games they can't remember. Then other users help them identify the game. In April 2016, a user named Sparta213 made a post. He said he was searching for a disturbing game set on a farm. In the game, the main character lived with his wife. One day, they got into a fight. Things escalated, and in a moment of anger, the main character ended his wife. That's when the real gameplay began. Players were supposed to hide the body, run the farm, and keep the town from finding out. According to Sparta213, this was a real game. But he couldn't remember the game's title, so he wanted Reddit to help him find it. Redditors were curious. They searched through every farming game they could find.
Redditors jumped in, postulating that it could potentially be a Flash game, an old farming sim named Scapeland, or even a top-down RPG named Wild Season.
But Sparta213 ruled them all out. Everyone ran out of guesses. Months passed, then years, and the mystery just sat there. But one day, something changed. Other people started remembering the same game. 2 years later, a different user asked a very similar question. He said he was trying to find an old farming game. He described it as a game where you end your wife and then you try and pretend you never ended her. And that was the whole game. Keep farming and make sure no one finds out you killed her. He believed he played it on his computer in 2006. Then he upgraded his PC and the game disappeared. Now he couldn't even remember the title. The details matched Sparta213's story exactly. Again, Reddit tried to find it. They guessed every farming game they could think of. And again, every guess was wrong.
Gleaner Heights? Moirai? Lakeview Cabin? Unfortunately, at least according to the OP, none of these are it.
Days later, another user claimed they remember playing the farming game too. Then another and another. Over the next few months, dozens remembered playing the same game. They remember the farm, the crime, hiding the secret, but for some bizarre reason, none of them could remember the title. By now, Redditors were convinced the game was real. There were too many matching memories, but no one could find a single copy. What began as a normal search was now a full investigation. Users created a new subreddit. They called it That Evil Farming Game. Its mission was simple: identify the game and prove it was real. Users listed every tiny detail anyone remembered. They checked old game websites. They searched Twitter, Discord, and every platform they could. They contacted indie developers. Some even searched the dark web. The mystery consumed them. One user spent 14 hours a day chasing leads, but no matter how hard they looked, the game never showed up. Just when everyone was about to give up, someone found a shocking clue, and the entire mystery unraveled. In June 2021, a user named PM Me Your Ears found an old live stream. The video was recorded long before the mystery game was ever mentioned on Reddit. This was an important piece of information. In the stream, the host jokingly made up a game.
Midway in the game, you have an argument with your wife and you accidentally kill her. You gotta manage your farm, raise your chickens and milk the cows. You also gotta hide the body from the cops sometimes.
The details were identical to the missing farm game. PM Me Your Ears thought the live stream had to be connected, so he shared it with Sparta213 and asked if he knew the streamer. Remember, Sparta213 was the first to mention the farming game on Reddit. Sparta took one look and knew right away. He used to fall asleep watching that exact streamer years ago. And the truth about the game was finally clear. Sparta imagined the entire game. This is what happened. One night in 2016, he watched that live stream. The streamer joked about making a game about a farmer who tries to get away with ending his wife. It was just a joke. Sparta eventually fell asleep. The next morning, he kept thinking about a farming game with a murder plot, except he believed it was a real game that he used to play. His mind took the streamer's joke and treated it like a real memory. So he asked Reddit to help him find the game. And for the next 5 years, thousands scrambled to find a game that did not exist. And just like that, the mystery was solved. But one question remained. If the game didn't exist, why did so many other people remember the same fake game? game? The answer was the Mandela effect. It happens when people collectively misremember events. In other words, people saw others remembering the game, and they started imagining themselves playing it too. With the mystery finally solved, the subreddit was abandoned. Today, the mystery is remembered as one of the biggest accidental hoaxes in internet history. For 5 years, that fake game spread across the internet. And even after the truth came out, it's still out there. That's how the internet works. Once something is online, it never really goes away. Your personal information works the same way. A few years back, someone found my old personal details online and used them to threaten me. I tried deleting my online data myself, but hundreds of these websites had them, so I gave up. It's because these data broker websites make money by selling your information to anyone willing to pay, and unfortunately, it's completely legal. But they're also legally required to remove your data if you request it. But as I've already tried, doing it manually is basically impossible. That's where today's sponsor, Aura, comes in. Aura identifies which websites have your information, then they handle every single removal request for you. In just a few weeks, you'll start seeing less spam calls, less junk mail, and your information becomes way harder to find online. But Aura doesn't just stop at data removal. It constantly monitors the dark web and alerts you if your information appears there. If someone tries to take out credit or open a bank account using your name, they'll alert you right away. And in the worst case scenario, you're covered by up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. Aura even gives you a VPN, antivirus software, and a password manager, which all help you stay safe online. My friends, with Christmas coming, I think online safety is one of the best gifts you can give the people you care about. It might just save them more than we would ever know. If you guys want to try Aura, click the link in the description or head to aura.com/VV for a 14-day free trial. That gives Aura enough time to find out if your personal data is already being sold online. Imagine waking up one day and not knowing who you are. That's what happened in this next story. The mystery of the Burger King man. On August 31st, 2004, a man woke up outside a Burger King in Georgia. He was lying on the ground next to a dumpster. He didn't know how he got there, but that was only the beginning of his problems. He had no ID and no money. He was covered in painful blisters.
Though it was still morning, his skin was already sunburned and blistered. His body was covered in fire ants.
But the worst part was his mind. He couldn't remember anything about his life.
I have no idea how I got there. I don't remember anything about it. I had no memory of my name, my parents, relatives.
Burger King employees found him and called 911. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital. Doctors diagnosed him with memory loss brought about by trauma. They had no idea what caused it.
According to reports, there was no evidence of recent physical trauma to the body or to his skull.
He looked like a healthy man in his middle 50s. When he left the hospital, he had nowhere to go, so he moved into a homeless shelter. He decided to choose a name for himself, Benjamin Kyle. Benjamin spelled with 2 A's. Then he began searching for his real identity. Benjamin first went to the police. They ran his fingerprints, but nothing came up.
They cannot find my fingerprints anywhere in any database.
He turned to TV stations. Reporters told his story and showed his face. They hoped someone would recognize him. No one did.
Maybe his family never looked for him or wasn't looking for him and just felt terrible.
For years, Benjamin searched. He visited schools and checked old yearbooks. He looked through government records. There was no record of his existence. It was like he was a ghost.
For all practical intents and purposes, I don't exist.
Benjamin became the first U.S. citizen to be listed as missing, despite his whereabouts being known.
Life only got harder.
Without an ID or social security number, there's no option to get a job, there's no option to gain government benefits, and really there's no options for Benjamin to improve his quality of life.
By 2012, Benjamin had been searching for 8 years. He had no money, no job, and no idea who he was. Journalists even picked up the story. Benjamin's face and story spread everywhere.
From newspaper headlines to talk show appearances, even a documentary, Benjamin's story sparked a media frenzy, and still, nobody knows who he is.
Just when he was about to give up, a friend gave him one more idea. Ask for help on Reddit. In late 2012, Benjamin posted his story on Reddit. He wrote, "I am Benjamin Kyle, an amnesiac who woke up with no memories in 2004. Nobody knows who I am. Ask me anything." Thousands saw his post, and it was flooded with comments. Reddit users asked about his life. Others asked what fragments he remembered. Many sent kind messages and encouragement. Within hours, Benjamin's post reached Reddit's front page. And that Reddit post post reached a woman named Cece Moore. Cece was an expert in DNA and genetics, and she believed she could use Benjamin's DNA to identify his family. She contacted him and offered help. He agreed. Cece collected his DNA sample. Then she got to work. She ran his DNA through family history databases across the country. She worked for years until finally she found a connection. In 2015, Cece found a DNA match in Indiana. It was the breakthrough everyone hoped for. Benjamin traveled to Indiana. There, he finally found what he's been searching for.
Finally, Benjamin Kyle had an identity, he had a hometown, and he had 2 remaining brothers from his family where he grew up.
Benjamin's real name was William Burgess Powell. He was born and raised in Indiana. In 1976, he left home for a new job. That's when he vanished. His family reported him missing, but he was never found. For nearly 30 years, he was gone without a trace, until the day he woke up outside that Burger King in 2004. The discovery created new questions. Where did he go after 1976? Why was he missing for so long? How did he end up unconscious in Georgia? What happened that erased his memories? No one knows the answers, not even Benjamin.
So, you really are a man without any answers. Very few.
Yes.
But one thing finally changed. Benjamin found his family. He finally belonged somewhere again. In late 2015, he moved in with his family in Indiana. He recovered his social security details and got a job. He started rebuilding a normal life. As of 2025, Benjamin is still searching for the missing pieces of his story. But because of the attention he got from that Reddit post, he is no longer alone. This next chapter has everything: secret agents, parallel universes, and government cover-ups. The mysterious man from another universe. The mystery of the man from Torrid begins with a strange event in a very ordinary place, an airport. In October 1954, a man arrived at the Tokyo airport. When immigration officials checked his passport, they noticed something unusual. The passport said he was from a country called Torrid, except Torrid did not exist. At least the officers never heard of that country. But the traveler insisted Torrid was real. To prove it, he showed them money from his country.
He also presented currency, banknotes issued by his homeland, which did not look in any way counterfeit.
Immigration officers still didn't believe him, so they gave him a chance to prove it.
They then placed a map of the world on the table in front of him and asked him to pinpoint the exact location of his country.
The man pointed to a region between France and Spain, but he was pointing at a country called Andorra, not Torrid. The man looked confused. He claimed the map was wrong. He insisted that Torrid should be right where Andorra was. No one knew what to think, so the immigration officers called the police. The man was detained. Police searched his documents and questioned him. Then the story goes dark. This was way back in 1954. Record keeping wasn't great. The man's trail just disappeared from history, and that's when the real mystery begins. Newspapers nicknamed him the mystery man from Torrid. Conspiracy theorists loved the story. They tried to guess who he was. Some said he was a spy. Others believed something more extreme.
The theory that's most popular is that the man from Torrid was actually from an alternative universe. Somehow, during his flight, he crossed over into this one.
Decades passed. The story changed each time it was retold. Facts were twisted. Rumors turned into evidence. Eventually, no one knew which part of the story was real. Then, around 2014, the story exploded again, this time on Reddit. Reddit users wanted to solve the mystery. Who was this man from Torrid? And where did he actually come from? But finding the truth wasn't easy. The biggest challenge was that no one had the original source of the story from 1954. Only the exaggerated versions existed. Redditors dug through archives searching for reports from the 1950s, but they found nothing. Then a Redditor from Japan made a breakthrough. In 2020, he visited a public library in Tokyo. If the original story still existed anywhere, it would be there. He checked Japanese newspapers from the 1950s. Then he found something. He discovered a news article from 1959. It matched the Torrid story, except the truth was very different. According to the newspaper, the mystery man was named John Allen Zegras. But John wasn't from Torrid. He was from the United States. John was actually a con man. He traveled the world scamming people and running before he got caught. To protect his true identity, he used a fake passport from a fake country. Surprisingly, it worked. He used that fake passport many times without being caught, until he arrived in Japan in 1954. Immigration officials spotted the fake passport. They alerted police. John was arrested. He was found guilty for fraud and violation of immigration laws.
He was sentenced to a year in prison. And that's how the legend of the man from Torred got started.
Local newspapers reported the case accurately. The news outlets outside Japan messed up the story. They exaggerated the details. Each version became more dramatic. Soon, the story was no longer about a scammer, but a man from another universe. But the mystery was finally solved. The man from Torred was nothing more than a scam artist who finally ran out of luck. Up next is the most tragic story on our list: the hit-and-run mystery. Al Rainwater and his wife Susan were married for 30 wonderful years. They were so close that they still held hands when they walked. But on August 9th, 2018, their picture-perfect life was destroyed. That morning, 66-year-old Susan left home for her daily bike ride. She told Al she would be back in 30 minutes. She never returned. Al went out to look for her. He found her bicycle tossed on the side of the road. The frame was twisted, the wheels were crushed. It looked like a crash, but Susan wasn't there. He found her a few yards away in a ditch. She wasn't moving. Susan was gone. Heartbroken, Al called 911. Troopers arrived and began to investigate. It didn't take long for them to understand the situation. Someone hit Susan with a vehicle and drove away.
A grandmother was out bicycling in Eatonville and she was hit by a vehicle, dumped in a ditch.
The police was determined to find that driver and bring him to justice. But from the start, the case felt impossible. There were no cameras at the scene. There were also no witnesses. It felt like the driver vanished without a trace. Then officers spotted a single clue. They found a tiny piece of plastic at the scene. Police believed it snapped off the vehicle during the crash, but the piece was tiny. They couldn't tell what part of the car it came from. Without that answer, the case would go cold. The only way to find the hit-and-run driver was to identify that broken piece of plastic. So investigators tried something new. That evening, an officer posted a photo of the plastic piece online. He tweeted, "Troopers and detectives are still looking for a black vehicle involved in a tragic bicyclist fatality. If you know anything regarding this collision, please call the Washington State Patrol." No one on Twitter recognized it. The police were losing hope, and that's when Reddit came to the rescue. A Reddit user posted the picture to a group called What Is This Thing? It's a community where people help each other identify weird or unknown objects. He told them the full story when he posted it. If they couldn't solve it, Susan would never get justice. The whole group was ready to help. Replies started pouring in.
Somebody picked it up and put it on Reddit. And that's when about 600 car enthusiasts and mechanics started to look at those pieces of vehicle and say what they think it might have been.
One person guessed it came from a car window. Another suggested the front bumper. Dozens of theories appeared, but none of them were reliable. Then a user named Greg's Candy shared a new idea. He said the piece came from a car's headlight. Lots of people agreed, but they still needed more details. Even if it was from a headlamp, they had to figure out the exact car model. The case hit another wall until a user showed up. This Reddit user, Jeff, worked as a vehicle inspector in Maryland. That meant he examined thousands of cars. The moment he saw the plastic piece, he knew what it was. He said it belonged to the headlamp of a 1988 Chevy Silverado. Reddit users checked product photos online. It was an exact match. Everyone upvoted the answer to the top of the thread. Reddit identified the make and model of the car. They also knew that the broken plastic came from the headlamp. Now they needed to find the specific vehicle. If they found the vehicle, they would find the driver. And only a few hours later, they did. A Reddit user spotted a 1980s Chevrolet truck with a broken headlight. The shape of the damage matched the plastic piece found at the scene. They called the sheriff immediately.
After that, officers got an anonymous tip describing damage on, get this, a 1986 Chevrolet K10 pickup truck.
Police rushed to the location. The truck belonged to 37-year-old Jeremy Simon. When officers questioned him, he confessed. On the morning of the crash, he was driving under the influence. He fell asleep at the wheel. He woke up only after slamming into Susan. When he looked back, he saw a bicycle. He panicked and fled. Jeremy pleaded guilty to all charges. He was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison. When the case closed, the police publicly thanked the online community for their help. Without Reddit, Susan Rainwater might never have received the justice she deserved. In this next chapter, Redditors joined forces to track down a dangerous criminal. The mystery of the Dutch crime scene. The story gets dark really fast. In April 2013, a guy in the Netherlands was exploring Google Earth. He was zooming around his neighborhood when he saw what looked like a crime scene.
It's right here. I'm gonna get really close up into it.
It looked like someone was dumping a body in the river.
This is unreal. I can't believe that satellite images actually caught this image of these.
On a dock near the water, a long red trail stretched across the wood. At the end of the trail lay a shape that looked like a body. Next to it stood a person. He took a screenshot of the scene and sent it to the police, but the police didn't respond. No officers came to check the dock. No investigation began. The police obviously weren't taking him seriously, so he decided to ask Reddit for help. He posted the image with the title, "A Murder Near My House" on Google Maps. He also shared a link to the location. Redditors opened the link. Most of them saw the same frightening picture, a red trail, a body-shaped figure, and a person standing right beside it. People began sharing theories in the comments. One said it was an animal left after a hunt. That would explain the red trail. Another user measured the length of the shape on the dock. It was a little over 5 feet long. That was much closer to a human body. Others studied the standing figure. To some, it looked like two people, not one.
You can easily see that there are at least 3 subjects here in this crime, 2 of them being the actual murders. Now,
hours passed, theories got darker, but there were still no clear answers. That was when a user named BennyBoy1337 took a closer look, and he noticed something everyone missed. To Benny Boy, the shapes didn't look human at all. They looked like a dog and its owner on the dock. He explained it this way: looks like a dog got out of the water and shook itself dry, then walked off the dock while dripping water. That's why the wet wood looks so much darker in color. Redditors read that and checked the image again. Suddenly, the entire photo looked completely different.
The shot is actually of a dog that was wet and simply shook itself off at the end of the dock, causing the redwood to look like bloodstains.
Someone even made a sketch to help others see it clearly. Still, some didn't believe it, so reporters went to the dock in person. They asked around and found the dog's owner. She explained what was really going on in the photo. Her dog loved jumping in and out of the lake. It must have run onto the dock while still wet right when Google Earth took that photo. That blood trail was just water dripping off the dog. The sunlight created shadows that made the dog look much bigger, and those same shadows made the owner look like more than one person. Local police later confirmed why they never responded. Turns out they already knew about the Google Earth image, and they already confirmed that it wasn't a crime scene. The mystery was solved. That case is now remembered as the Dutch crime scene, even though nothing criminal happened at all. This next story is about a man who didn't feel safe in his own home, so he asked Reddit for help. The mystery of the evil landlord. On April 15th, 2015, a Reddit user named rbradbury1920 was panicking. That day, Bradbury noticed something strange on his desk. It was a post-it note with a list of chores. The problem was that he had no idea how it got there. He lived alone and he didn't remember writing it, and the handwriting wasn't his. He tried to ignore it, but 4 days later it happened again. Another post-it note appeared in the exact same place. Same handwriting, same desk, but this message was more urgent. He told him to make sure he saved his documents. That was the moment he started to panic. He wondered if someone was entering his home to leave notes. To catch the intruder, he set up a webcam facing his desk. He thought the camera would record whoever was leaving the notes. A few quiet days passed. Then on April 28th, he found a third note. It was the same handwriting, but this one was far more disturbing than the previous ones. It read, "Our landlord isn't letting me talk to you, but it's important we do." He was freaking out. He opened his computer to check the webcam recordings. To his shock, the folder was empty. To him, there was only one explanation. The intruder must have deleted the videos to hide their identity. Now he felt certain that whoever was coming into his home was dangerous. Soon, a fourth note appeared. This time, it was left outside his front door, but the note was blank. This convinced him that something was seriously wrong. He decided to investigate the handwriting himself. His first suspect was his landlord. He compared the notes to a letter his landlord gave him when he moved in. To him, the writing looked exactly the same.
The handwriting on the previous notes matched the handwriting on the letter. He was certain that it had to be so.
At this point, he was convinced that his landlord had been sneaking into his apartment and leaving messages, but he wasn't sure what to do about it, so he turned to Reddit for advice. On May 1st, Bradbury shared his experience on a subreddit called Legal Advice. It's a place where people seek legal advice from lawyers and experienced users. He explained the mysterious notes, his living situation, and the handwriting that matched his landlord's. Then he asked what legal action he could take against his landlord. However, the response was not what he expected. Many Redditors didn't believe him. They thought he made up the story just to get attention. Despite their doubts, the story was too strange to ignore. People continued to comment and upvote. Soon his post climbed all the way to Reddit's front page. More users joined the discussion. That was when a user named Kakerlak noticed an important piece of information. Months earlier, Bradbury mentioned that he slept in a room with no windows. It was one of his old Reddit comments. That single detail sparked a completely different theory. one that would save Bradbury's life. When Kakerlak learned that Bradbury slept in a windowless room, he suspected carbon monoxide poisoning.
So carbon monoxide is a poisonous gas. It's indetectable to our senses.
Carbon monoxide is deadly. You can't see it, smell it, or taste it. Without proper ventilation, the gas can build up without anyone realizing it. Breathing in carbon monoxide can cause memory loss, confusion, and paranoia. If that was happening to him, it would explain everything. Bradbury probably wrote the post-it notes himself, but didn't remember doing so because of carbon monoxide poisoning. Kakerlak shared this theory online. Within a few hours, his comments got thousands of upvotes. Redditors begged Bradbury to check for carbon monoxide right away, so he decided to test it. He installed a carbon monoxide monitor in his room. When he switched it on, it showed dangerously high levels of the gas. He started to believe that Kakerlak might be right. Maybe his landlord wasn't sneaking into his apartment. Maybe it was just carbon monoxide messing with his head. He examined the post-it notes again. The handwriting no longer looked like his landlord's. It looked exactly like his own. The poisoning had confused him so much that he forgot what his own handwriting looked like. But one mystery remained. Who deleted the webcam footage? He checked the webcam more carefully. That's when he realized he never plugged it in. There was nothing to delete. The videos never existed in the first place. He returned to Reddit and posted an update. He explained everything and thanked the community for helping him find the real danger. If the carbon monoxide poisoning continued, it could have ended his life. It took about 20 years to solve this next tragic mystery. The mystery of the nameless victim. On June 26, 1995, someone reported a car crash in southeastern Virginia. Police arrived and found two victims. One was identified as 21-year-old Michael Hager, but the second was so badly injured that he couldn't be identified. Unfortunately, he had no ID, so police had no way to know who he was. But investigators did find one clue. Inside his pocket, they discovered tickets to a Grateful Dead concert. Grateful Dead was a popular rock band in the 90s. With no other information, police labeled the unknown victim as John Doe, which is the name used for unidentified people. For nearly 20 years, no one knew who he was. And then Redditors got involved. Around 2014, a woman named Layla Betts began investigating this story. She read police files and spoke with officers involved, but she found nothing new, so she turned to Reddit. Layla created a subreddit called Grateful Doe. Grateful Doe because the unidentified man had Grateful Dead concert tickets and no one knew his real name. Her first post was an Imgur summary of the case. She included every fact she could find, including a police reconstruction sketch. People across Reddit noticed. They joined the subreddit. They shared theories. Soon, thousands were working together to identify Grateful Doe.
The post went viral, and soon enough, she was in contact with the law enforcement and curious individuals who wanted to help.
Redditors shared the Imgur image everywhere. Forums, websites, social media. They hoped the right person would recognize him, and one day, someone did. In early January 2015, the moderator of the subreddit received a message. It was from a man named Steve. Steve said Grateful Doe looked like his old roommate, Jason. He hadn't seen Jason since 1995, and he couldn't remember Jason's last name, but he remembered something important. Jason was a huge Grateful Dead fan. To help the investigation, Steve sent photos of Jason. Those photos were posted on the Grateful Doe subreddit. The resemblance to the police sketch was clear.
The news of this man possibly being Grateful Doe spread very fast around the internet.
A few days later, someone else saw the photos. A woman in South Carolina. She recognized the face instantly. It was her son, Jason Callahan.
A 63-year-old Myrtle Beach woman says the Jason in the photos on Facebook is her son, Jason Callahan.
Jason went missing about 20 years earlier.
He left home in 1995 to follow the band Grateful Dead and hasn't been seen since.
Police ran DNA tests to be sure. The results confirmed it. Jason Callahan was Grateful Doe. His family finally had answers. After nearly 20 years, they laid his remains to rest. The case was closed, but the Grateful Doe subreddit didn't stop there. They found a new purpose, helping identify missing people worldwide. Since then, the community has helped solve multiple cold cases. And it all started because someone made a post on Reddit. The internet can be a dark place, but these stories remind us that it can also be a force for good. So the next time you're scrolling, ask yourself, am I part of the problem or part of the solution? Visual Venture. Wait, before you go, I have a video called Creepy Reddit Stories That Actually Happened. We talk about a gym teacher with a hidden camera, a woman who predicted her father's death, and a woman who found a stranger living in her attic. Click right here to watch it. Love you guys. Peace.